Hey there Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. Okay, so in today's video we are going to be talking about the compatibility, so looking at the love and anger compatibility between both Taurus versus Leo. Now I recommend you watch this video if you happen to have your Sun, your Moon, your Venus, your Mars, and also your Mercury within either of these two signs, because of course Mercury is all about communication, and communication is pretty dang important when it comes to compatibility and relationships. However, before we do get started, if you would like to know more information all about your Venus sign as well as compatibility within astrology, and also if you want to know more information about your Libra house and your 7th house within your natal birth chart, then I have created a Libra season/archetype ebook. So what I am going to do is I'm going to provide a link to that ebook in the description box below so that you can pick up your copy today. Okay, so with all those introductions out of the way, and given the fact that I'm wearing this huge coat which screams Leo-Taurus combination to me, at least, let's do this. Okay, so the first thing to keep in mind is that these two signs are making what's referred to as a square aspect between one another within the zodiac wheel. And what square aspects can signify is they can signify conflicts, tensions, pressures, and criticisms. But what I want to do is I not only want to address these criticisms and pressures and such, I also want to look at the compatibility between these two signs overall, you know, so looking at how they can come together into a union, into a romantic relationship. And what I think a Taurus may be attracted to within a Leo is that they may be attracted to how a Leo can appear to be quite sure of themselves. They can appear to be confident in their own skin. Now, that's not to say that all Leos are confident, because of course even Leos can struggle with confidence, and I suppose in this way Leos have this thing about them where it's kind of about them learning how to be confident, or at least learning how to be comfortable within their own skin. Now, they can have this fake it till you make it outlook, and that I think can help them grow, you know, and really come into their own. And you can find that with Leos, even if they struggle with their self-acceptance and things whenever they're younger, as they grow into their mane, so to speak, right? So looking at the lion symbol, as they grow into their mane, they really do start to just blossom and flourish. But I feel like them meeting a Taurus, them meeting a Taurus could bring a lot of that self-assurance. And what I mean by this is that a Taurus individual meeting a Leo can be that person who really builds a Leo up. So let's say, for an example's sake, that a Taurus meets a Leo for the first time and they're having a conversation together. Now, usually Leos do like to be heard. Whenever they have an opinion about something, their opinion can be very strong. But the thing about the Taurus as well is that whenever they have an opinion about something, they can also be strong in it as well, keeping in mind that they're both fixed signs. So whilst a Leo does appreciate being heard and recognized and acknowledged for what they're saying, also a Taurus wants to make sure that they really get their point across. So in this instance, yes, when they converse, there can be that quite strongly opinionated viewpoints that they can both bring. But I also think that a Taurus can be very good, and also a Leo towards the Taurus, they can both be very good at looking into the other person's insecurities and being able to bring out those insecurities and just address them head on fearlessly. I think especially if a Leo does it to the Taurus, you know, a Taurus may really respect like that ability that the Leo has just to say it like it is. But then I also do think that a Taurus can have this ease, this pleasant way of being able to look into the Leo's insecurities. But bringing this kind of back to the whole confidence thing, I do still think that a Taurus can really admire, I mean, a Leo, for example, they can take risks, you know, they can enter into new territories almost fearlessly and give the impression that like, yes, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it with such like an urge, you know, like a zest for life. And a Taurus may see that and think, wow, I really admire that you're able to, I don't know, do things outside of your comfort zone, and you do it with just a lot of passion and a lot of enthusiasm and a high altitude of courage. So a Taurus can look to the Leo in that way. But then I also think that with this instance, a Leo can be really good at bringing the Taurus out of their comfort zone. You know, they can really encourage that Taurus to start something new that maybe the Taurus has been thinking about for a long time. Leos can be really good at giving compliments to other people. So if they see a certain quality within the Taurus that they admire, they will like pull that Taurus up and like see the strength. You know, this could even be a situation where maybe the Taurus is feeling a little bit down in the relationship, or something's happened and maybe they're struggling with money, for example, or maybe they're having issues when it comes to their own self-esteem, their own self-worth. A Leo person may be that person who says, are you serious? No, Taurus, do you not see that thing you did last week? Do you not see and recognize the qualities within you that are so amazing and incredible? And yes, Taurus, maybe things are hard right now financially, but you do realize that this will pass. This will pass. Just Leos have a great way of being able to acknowledge your pain and acknowledge that maybe you're going through something, but also being able to provide an encouraging outlook towards it to show you that you can overcome those hardships in life. And they can bring light just to new ways, and they can bring a lot of ideas that are maybe connected with, you know, for example, have you ever thought of going out for a walk or doing something fun? Don't take life so seriously, you know, let's have fun and play and get out there and just live life. You know, Leos really want to be able to encourage people to do that, especially if they're down, and also if the Leo is down, because of course we're not perfect. We all have our down days, and if a Leo is feeling that way, a Taurus partner may like bring the Leo some sweets, you know, or chocolates that they really like. Or that Taurus may go to the Leo and say something like, hey Leo, let's go to the cinema, let's go see that movie that you've been wanting to see for a long time, or let's go and have a nice drink, like your favorite martini, Leo, your favorite cocktail, Leo. Just the Taurus can provide practical things that the Leo likes, that the Taurus knows the Leo likes. And even on that note, if these two are quite the luxurious types, because they both can have the tendency to be like that. So a Taurus person may be quite the shopper, the spender, and a Leo person may also be like that. So if they were to come together into a relationship and they start to accumulate a lot of money and wealth and materials and such together, then maybe they could both sort of live the high life, so to speak. Now, of course, it can vary, because a Taurus person can also be quite practical minded also when it comes to their spending. Or they may think of things in a much more useful way, or they may even be the type of Taurus who really just doesn't really care so much about the materialistic side of life. Now, of course, it can also be that the Taurus can be a hoarder. There can be those types of Taurus that exist. So, kind of breaking this down, if that Taurus maybe is the type of Taurus who is more about nature and just doing things to be one with the earth and doesn't really care about the materials and belongings, then them, meaning a Leo who is more like, you know, big coats and jewelry and lipstick and all these things that provide them with a lot of pleasure, and it's, oh, you know, darling, if they meet a Leo like that, then there may be a bit of a difficulty here, like trying to connect with that Leo. But then likewise, if the Taurus is the hoarder type and they keep a lot of things, you know, it's like, I'm not letting you use that, Leo. Don't you touch my hairbrush, don't you touch my clothes, don't you touch that food, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. And the Leo may be that type who is more unaware and just kind of expects things and is entitled, because you can get Leos who are quite entitled and like, it's all about me and I should have what I want all the time. You know, that combination in terms of their vibrations will be really, really different and really difficult. But I do also think on the other side of this, that if a Leo is in a stage in their lives where maybe they are just a bit more about the play and the fun and being childlike together, but then the Taurus is maybe working, or maybe they are having to really think like about their physical security. Maybe they're in a stage in their lives where it's like, right, I have to get myself together and think about like how to sustain myself right now. That Leo coming into the Taurus's life, that might be pretty hard, because the Taurus may not be able to give the Leo what the Leo wants or expects. They may not be able to do the fun activities that the Leo wants to do, you know. But again, bringing this back to both of them being in a similar sort of vibration, I feel like they can be, you know. I think it depends on their resources and their money and what they both enjoy doing. But actually following on from this point, if these two decide to come into a union and they figure out what the other person enjoys or finds pleasure in doing, then they can really bounce off that, you know. I feel like they can both be very giving towards one another, be very generous. However, conflicts can arise when it comes to these things as well, because if, for example, it ever gets to a stage where one person is being giving but the other person isn't appreciative or gets too complacent with it, then it may result in the other person then not feeling seen or wanted or acknowledged. And what I'm trying to get to here is that, for one, look at it from the Leo to the Taurus. Leo may be highly generous, complimentary towards their partner, but a Taurus is all about comfort, right? So they may get to a point where they unknowingly just become comfortable with the Leo's way of doing things, but they get maybe too comfortable, where they then start to not really appreciate so much the Leo's giving nature. But then also, a Taurus may be quite generous and giving to the Leo, but if the Leo then starts to be a bit uppity about that, or demanding, like maneuvering it into expectation from the Taurus all the time, if they move into that space towards the Taurus, then again, this can be a little bit difficult. So I think it's good for both signs just to keep themselves aware of how they appreciate and receive each other. But you know what? I do think that the two of them can show so much affection towards each other. It's ridiculous. A Taurus person, for example, may make the Leo food maybe all day, every day if the Leo really wants. They may bring them like certain treats and snacks They may give the Leo a nice foot rub and pamper the Leo, which the Leo is gonna love, like being pampered, self-care and all that good stuff. You know, a lot of candles, a lot of kissing, a lot of embracing, a lot of romance between these two signs can play out, of course. But then likewise, you know, a Leo can bring that affection that's just quite like, it's almost like a parent towards their child, but not in the Cancerian type of way of a nurturing, protective, yeah, I would say, but not necessarily nurturing, but more of like just that warmth, you know, really showing a warm appreciation towards the Taurus, and still, you know, making the Taurus feel protected, feel safe in the Leo's arms. But then also I think that a Taurus can be really protective towards the Leo. However, this is another point I think too, but speaking of protection, because it reminds me of how both of them may have the tendency of being jealous around each other. Taurus people can also have the tendency of being quite possessive towards their lovers, you know. They sort of turn into their stuff, into their property. Like, you're mine. It can be really cute and it can be really sexy, like, you're mine. Yeah, you're mine. But then it can also be like psychotic and it can be detrimental, you know. There can be that fine line, possessiveness. So if the Leo wants to be possessed a little bit and, like, you know, seen as I am your one and only Taurus, then great. That Leo may freaking love it. You know, that Leo would be like, oh yes, I'm getting all this attention and this admiration, I'm being possessed, oh my gosh, this is great. But if it turns into, you can't go out with that person tonight, you're not allowed to do this thing, oh no, you're not allowed to talk to that person, then the Leo, oh my gosh, especially Leo needing, like, they need to express themselves, they need to feel like they're the life of the party, like they have to feel that way. If a Taurus is like caving in on the Leo to that point, then that Leo is going to get to a point where they, you know, like just, they snap back at the Taurus. But then likewise, a Leo can also have the tendency, I think, of being a little bit jealous, especially if the Leo is with someone and they're committed and they're devoted. They can maybe say some things towards the Taurus that may be a little bit hurtful, or they may try to pull certain tactics on the Taurus to show that Leo is more dominant, that they are actually the alpha. You know, this is the lion, right? This is a symbol of a lion. Like, I'm the king, you know, or I'm the queen, whatever. I have the say. So there can be that overpowering energy that can come from a Leo. So if they try to pull certain things over the Taurus out of their own jealousy, then a Taurus may also get quite frustrated by that too, and they may like push back, or they may be quite like, you know, standoffish about it as well, because you also don't want to poke a bull, you know. Overall, I think that this can be a relationship that can be quite luxurious, devoted, pretty romantic, you know, a lot of romance going on. I think they can be pretty loyal towards one another. They can enjoy a lot of pleasurable experiences. There can be plenty of sensual experiences that they have with one another. But still, you know, the Taurus, I feel they seek a lot more of that security and comfort within the union, whereas a Leo is going to seek a lot more fun and play and excitement and to be treated like royalty, so to speak. But then I also think that, concluding with this point, that whilst a Taurus can feel a little bit threatened by a Leo sometimes, a Leo can maybe feel a little bit stagnant with the Taurus. So it's good for them both to sort of communicate these concerns towards one another within the relationship. Okay, so now we have looked at love and romance. Let's now look at anger. So the compatibility of anger between these two signs. Let's paint a sort of scenario as to how this may play out. So let's imagine that the two of them are having dinner with each other, and maybe the Leo makes the dinner. The Leo has slaved away all day in the kitchen, or they've just really enjoyed the process of making that dinner from start to finish, and they feel like really confident about it, and they feel like they've done a great job. Okay, good for them, good for Leo. So Leo makes it and they're eating the food, But maybe Taurus says something, you know. Of course, the Taurus is very appreciative towards the food, but perhaps they just say something about the food, or they ask a question towards the Leo. Maybe they say something like, oh, you know, yeah, this food is really good, but, you know, it's not quite the same as last time. Well, did you do something different this time? You know, Taurus is all about routine and everything, and they can almost like pick up the certain smells and tastes. They're very, very good at, it's almost like they have that intelligence about them when it comes to smells and what they taste from food. So they'll say something to the Taurus, or to the Leo. And if that Leo picks up on that and they take it the wrong way, or they take it to heart, or they don't feel appreciated, that Leo may just bite back with a certain comment as a way to protect their own egos from being hurt towards the Taurus. And it may kind of be seen as a defense, like it could possibly be seen as a defense mechanism from the Leo towards the Taurus, but I guess what could end up happening is that this could all spiral out of control to Taurus saying something, Leo taking it personal, the Leo biting back because they don't want to get their ego bruised, and then the Taurus being stubborn in their viewpoint as well and not letting it go. And then all of a sudden they're arguing, and then what can even end up happening is the Taurus may bring up something from last week. They may say something like, hey, well, last week you did this, or do you remember that couple of weeks back whenever the food was like this as well? Well, I didn't say anything back then. So if they were to bring up older arguments into the current argument with the Leo, that will just push the Leo even more and make the Leo feel even more hurt. And then it's going to hurt their ego even more. They may start to overcompensate a little bit. And then the both of them may just be so stuck on their own viewpoints that they find it hard to see past what they really think. So in this instance, it may be really, really beneficial for one, it's really important, I think, for Taurus to learn how to let things go and not let older arguments affect current arguments, because that can be really unhealthy within relationships. But then likewise for Leo, just to maybe look at their own egos and how they perceive other people's opinions about them, because Leos can have the tendency of appearing quite confident or sure or certain in themselves, and a lot of the times they are. But you can sort of notice that even they are insecure, can be insecure like everybody else. If, for example, one little comment is made about their food or about what they did, and that comment may just make them crumble on the inside, and you think to yourself, well, I thought you were confident, like I thought you were secure in who you are, but this one thing just seems to like set you into a spiral. So that can happen. And of course, you know, we're only human, and however this manifests into that Leo's life, like it's okay, it's normal to be hurt sometimes from what other people say, and we can all sort of care about what other people think. So yeah, in this instance, it would be good for maybe a Leo just to also learn how to like think things through, or like not take things so like it's a personal attack on them. And seriously, whenever these two signs get angry, it can really be like pure butting heads. You know, these are fixed Mars signs, especially looking at the Mars sign here with anger. So they can be reluctant to change. There can be those power struggles that can really happen with fixed signs. They can be really uncompromising, uncooperative towards each other, and just unwilling to bend. So communication, being open is really necessary here. But let's also look at the anger then of the Taurus from the Leo. So let's say, for example, that they are shopping together. They're out doing some clothes shopping, and the Taurus is maybe helping the Leo select a lot of clothes and things. The Leo is trying on other outfits, they're asking the Taurus for their opinion on the outfit, and that's all great, you know, it's all going really, really well. But then what ends up happening is Leo can sort of turn into the mode of, hey, let's go here, let's do this, like quite demanding, you know, like some may see it as a bit bossy, but to the Leo, it's just that they want to do certain things, and what's wrong with asking another person to do it and to take the lead? You know, Leos can be leaders, like really great leaders in that regard. But if it gets to a point where the Taurus is just feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm really run down by this, I can't keep up with the amount that the Leo wants. Of course, this doesn't necessarily have to be just them out shopping, it can be in different aspects of their lives together. But if it just gets to a point where the Leo is leading or running the show all the time, it's my show, this is what I want, this is what we're going to do. Whereas the Taurus is trying to just keep it all in, right? Taurus people can just be really good at like keeping it chill, keeping it calm. Their anger is all quite, you know, level. But the more that Leo just keeps pushing the Taurus, putting them under pressure, expecting from them, demanding things from them, they're out in the shopping and it's just all becoming too much, then the Taurus can get to a point where they just erupt, you know? The Taurus can get to a point where it's just like, I am sick of this, I don't want to do this, and then they'll get like stubborn. They'll maybe sit down on a chair and say, I'm not moving from here. I'm not moving. You go and do your shopping on your own then. And then the Leo's like, but no, you're coming with me. No, this is the point. You're supposed to be coming with me. And they'll stand, you know, the Leo will stand and demand that the Taurus comes. No, I'm not doing it. You can't make me do it. So, yeah, Taurus types, especially whenever they've decided, like, I'm angry at you. I'm mad at you. That's it. There's nothing you can do right now to change my anger until I am not angry anymore. And then this can also turn into the Leo then maybe like feeling like they're not in control anymore. Maybe they do something reckless or stupid, or maybe they threaten the Leo a little bit with certain things. Like, well, I'm going to do that later on. Well, you're not going to be sleeping in bed with me tonight, or you're sleeping on the sofa then. That, you know, those petty things can come into play as well. Just anger for any of us. We can all sort of do just things towards each other out of anger that you really think about it afterwards. Whenever you've cooled down, you think, oh my gosh, that was so irrational. So this is another scenario here of how these two signs, when they get angry, they can be really firm and fixed on their anger, and they're not going to be budged. They refuse to move, and how they feel in that moment is how they feel, and that's it. So in this instance, I think it would be really beneficial for a Leo to be more aware of other people, right? Just to be more aware of other people's needs, their wants and their desires as well. You know, maybe to check in with the Taurus, like, is this okay with you? How are you feeling, Taurus? Is this what you want to do as well? But then likewise, it would of course be good for the Taurus to check in with the Leo as well, and just make them aware of how they are feeling or of what they want. But just, of course, for both of them really to listen, you know, they can both be quite just stuck in their own ways. So it's good for them to learn to be a bit more adaptable and flexible with one another. Okay then, Cosmic Warriors, so that concludes my video on the love and anger compatibility between Taurus versus Leo. Now, if you do happen to have any thoughts and opinions on today's video, then please be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching, thank you for subscribing, and of course if you would like to see more videos from myself and you have not yet subscribed, then go right ahead and click that subscribe button. And I will be back with another video very, very soon. Bye!